Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are listening to us from. Welcome to Footprints, a podcast by the Mopane Leadership Program of CivSource Africa. Footprints is a podcast that tells stories of our elders and gleans their wisdom so that we will be wise, you people. And today our guest is none other than Maurice Ogenga Latigo, and he is going to take us through the journey of his very many years on this earth. Professor, you're welcome. And can you tell us a bit about yourself? Take us way back in time.
Thank you very much, Jackie. It's always a pleasure being a politician and to be able to communicate with people. And I welcome you for this interview. Well, for us, maybe we don't fear to talk about how old we are.
Yes.
Probably I can feel proud that at my age, I'm still looking fit, in spite of the very turbulent journeys that I went through in life. I was born on the 12th of November. I'm a Scorpio, but I don't sting. 1952 in Kalongo. Two very beloved parents of mine, Cecilia Latigo, they used to call him Lapogne. When he retired from teaching, in the evening, we sent kids. He said, "Chere to come Lapogne, go to the shop of the teacher because he will give the paraffin," and said, "Oh, go tell your mom I've added a bit. You'll count the balance in your hands and fold and say, don't open it until you reach home."
Oh, wow.
So, and probably the first teacher from Agago. I did a lot in education. That made Agago at one time very famous for the level of education. And my mother, my dad came from Adilang, a place called Orina, but settled in Kalongo because after Kitgum, the Catholic Church wanted to open another primary school. And he was sent from Kitgum to start primary education in Kalongo as the third center of education for the Catholic Church. And then opened schools from there. My mom, Antonietta Anek, she came from Wall. Wall is not far from Kalongo. And that is how, from our father, it came.
Yeah.
And,
what do you remember about your childhood? What brings a smile to your face?
I think the joy of being close to my parents. I remember those very early days when I would struggle with djembe, when my dad is going to the field. He liked to cultivate, and I would insist and go with him. And by the way, now I grow rice, but it is some impulse that lies in the back of my mind because my dad used to grow rice. Those days in Acholi, they don't call it muchelik, they call it ruch. So the first rice growing I saw, I was probably 4 years old from my dad, and I'm a rice farmer. And it was a strict disciplinarian, and somebody who never interfered, and recognized certain things. So me and him, for example, he knew that you didn't have to tell. When I was young, I was Mario, which he changed to Maurice when he went to high school. He would, he will not tell Mario to sweep the compound in the morning. You get up in the morning, and the compound is swept. And you had the grass like compound grass, and would meticulously pick the weeds from it. And I would do that with him. So I became very close to him. When he retired, he became a shopkeeper. And I used to help him when I'm at home in the shop, particularly on Wednesday and Saturday. Those were market days. And people would come from all over. And because they know that Laponi's shop is where you get fair price, it would be crowded. And so I would work with him, and he was an extremely brilliant mathematician. Mm-hmm. Even at the age of 90, he would beat me. If you have a list of figures, he would do it and say, oh, you add it up. And you are there struggling, and I will tell you, they were taught, if you have 1, 2, 3, you add this, and when the total that comes out, when you add it up, is the total that you get down. Mm-hmm. I was also very good in mathematics, but I never got to learn how we did it. Yeah, and then from my mother's side, I was again very close to her. Mm-hmm. Two things. I was a keen worker. If the rainy season is now coming, and I would get groundnuts, shelling groundnuts, and then she would, the ones that are tiny, you are supposed to be given to eat. Mm. But for me and my brother, whom I followed, would look for the bigger seeds and plant them. And then we had another elder brother. He was such a lazy guy, but he was a brother. We knew that was him. He was the one. We didn't have sisters. When my mother would be in the field, he would cook for us. So you see your groundnuts looking very good. When the pods start coming, the guy would go and pluck them off and just cover the soil. You get so upset, but you can't do anything. Mm-hmm. And my mom used to say my hand was good. So when it is planting pumpkins, I'm the one who plants. Planting gourds, I'm the one who plants. And she also knew that I was a slow eater. Mm-hmm. And this stubborn brother of mine, if meat is cooked, he would put the turnover next to him. And you are eating from one bowl. You have to have 4 rounds before you touch meat. When it reaches around the 4th round, he will like his hand is by accident, he will put off.
Oh, the turnover. Oh, yeah. My goodness.
When the lights come back, you'll just find heaps of
bones
of millet and the meat is gone. So for me, I would walk away. And Mom knew that. So she would now prepare something for me. And when I was in senior, she knew I loved malakwang. Mm-hmm.
Very beautiful dish.
Yes. So that is the first meal I'll get Mama has cooked. Now you can see, and we granaries, Sim granaries, inside there tucked dry meat. And they would send me to pick it. No, I would not touch. Mm-hmm. So that's how I grew up, very strongly influenced by the character of my parents. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I became also responsible very early. Mm-hmm. Because my other brothers will not do the things Dad wanted. When Christmas comes and you need clothing, they cannot ask my dad. Mm-hmm. So they would come to me and I go and ask my dad. If you talk about how I became a leader, and when we were kids, they used to even had songs of Mario Ogenga, Mario, he pleases people. because many of our relatives come and stay with us. And we'll treat them exactly the way we treat each other. And that was a very good thing. So that is the background. Went to primary. My dad taught me for 2 weeks. Actually, I did not start primary normally. I was the youngest of the brothers who would go to school, and there was nobody to keep me at home. So I'd go with my brothers to school. And in class, I'm there playing. Sometimes the class is stuck, and then I raise my hands and give the correct answer. And so when I was supposed to start primary 1, my dad said, no, let him come to primary 2. And I went to primary 2. By primary 5, I had left my brother, whom I followed behind me. Primary 6, I had caught up with my brother, who was 7 years older than me. So I did not even grow up with my generation. I grew up with the generation slightly ahead. And that is how my life began.
Wow. And where did you go for secondary, and where does your path lead you?
Secondary, I went to Sir Samuel Baker School.
The famous.
Yes, but it was also coincidental. I applied to go to Nairobi. You know, those days it was about stockings. Nairobi had wonderful stockings. So I applied to go to Nairobi. Those days, your acceptance letter, if it came, it went to the post box in the sub-county headquarters. Kalongo was never an administrative unit. The sub-county headquarters was in Kuyue, 6 miles away. So my acceptance letter for the UB came and went to the sub-county, and nobody knew. The name was Mario Ogenga, and nobody knew who I was.
Yes.
Now, the guys from Laibi came for holidays and said, you didn't come to school. Your name is there. But at that time, the DPs of East actually had started St. Charles Luanga College in Kalong. But it was a new school, and my dad said, okay, now why don't you go to this school? And I said, no, this school has no future as far as I see. I would rather stay home and help you with the shop. Then he said, okay, you go to your brother. And I went to my brother, who was in Lukung in Ilamo. He was a teacher, headmaster there. And that was 67. And then after P7 in Lukung, then 68, I joined Samuel Baker. It was a wonderful school. That time it was Wazungu strictly. There were only, by the time we joined, there were only 2 Africans. And if you were not a graduate teacher, you would not teach in Samuel Baker. You can imagine that in senior 1, my physics teacher was Dr. Spivey. It was a PhD holder in physics.
Wow.
Just, they had a Sir Samuel Baker club. They would recruit teachers who would come and teach. The wife had a master's also in physics. And they came for 1 year holiday, the sabbatical, and they taught in Sir Samuel Baker. Then we had Dutch teachers. We had Dutch Canadian headmaster, then later Mr. Cox. And the first African headmaster of Sir Samuel Baker was somebody called Mr. Burua. He became the director of NTC in Obote too, but eventually ran into exile and died. Sam Baker was an amazing school where were very aggressive. We had Laibi on the other side. We had no girls, so we had to fight over girls of Sacred Heart and Gulu High School. And but then Sambeka was an American build. We had the best assembly hall probably in the country there, with floodlights. The ground is polished wood, and when it is like S4 levers dance, you come and polish the floor, and the lower classes, you are there watching. And then with the whole range of people, Justice Kania, Fasin Sassable Baker, Ojok Wangamoy, who was Chief Magistrate Buganda Road, who reported to Fasin Sassable Baker. Many people from all over Uganda. Somebody called Benon Piwa was a tall guy from Barara, was my classmate. Mwanga. We had that diversity. So we grew up with a national outlook. It was not about Sambeka being naturally. We would not even understand it. You said, no, we are Sambeka. Yeah. That is it. And that is, ultimately, that is what made me. In Sambeka, I was not a direct leader. But I joined sports very early. By senior 2, I was on the school team for hockey. We go to Budo. In our school, eating was a whole business. You sit and eat slowly and talk. Now we go to Budo and we are looking at the girls we are not familiar with, used to, and these boys, knowing that this is school from the north, we will show them. The guys will come and pick something small and then walk away. The first day, actually, we slept very hungry because we also had to abandon our food. So the next day, we figured out what to do. We get the guys, the captains, to sit with us, and we ask them questions while we are eating and they're explaining. So I was not in the prefecture leadership. In fact, in the senior 5, we also used to socialize, drink a lot. Go, if Franco or Rochereau came to town, we would go to Acholi, watch through the... But Burua, when he took over, he said when he was a student in Sassamul Baker, there was only one school rule: behave like a gentleman. And so if we went to town and you went to a bar and the teachers came and got you, you don't run. You finish your beer and then walk away. Wow. So you do this, but you also have that sense that you have a responsibility to show society. But they are fun memories. Things were easy. By the time we in senior 4, going to A level, and food standards had gone down. If they cooked beans twice in a week, and our dormitory was called Speak House on the western side. So the kitchen, we could smell the thing very quickly. If they cooked beans twice, that's how notorious we were. We'll go and look for these flies, the blue flies in the toilets. Yeah. And we'll go and put it in the food. Oh, there's a fly in the food. And the class teacher, the class master on duty, there were Zungus. They would come and see a fly and they'd ring a bell, they stop eating. And there was a bakery and a supermarket in town, Amlani. They would call Amlani and beef would come and bread. And we will enjoy it. That the teachers didn't know it was just mischievous. Yeah. So 6 years in Samuel Baker, 68, 71, O level, 74 was when I joined Makerere as an undergraduate.
Wow.
Yes.
And you finish what did you do at campus? What did you study?
Again, tis amazing. By A level, I was so good in geography that with a lady teacher whom we didn't understand, we actually chased her, and I'd teach my geography class.
You yourself?
Yes.
In A level?
Yes.
Wow.
But how I ended up in geography,
Yes.
I had a teacher who taught me biology in senior 2. And, you know, this nitrogen cycle or things like that, and with that equation. And he would write the wrong equation, and I'd raise my hands and say, no, there's a mistake there. That is how the equation should be. So I did that twice. The second time, he was so upset with me. Actually, he's the elder brother of Professor Nyeko Penmo. He was called Erika Layo. So that day he said, okay. And you know, he calls me the way we are called in Acholi. Okay, you want to compete with me? I've already got my degree. But they had told us that he tried to do agriculture and it got discontinued. So I said, that is the degree was unintended. And he threw the chalk at me and came for me. I had to jump through the window. Now, in S5, like you said, you're not going to do physics, chemistry, biology. You're going to do geography, chemistry, biology. Because he knew how good I was in geography. And that's how I ended up doing agriculture. Yeah, so I did agriculture, and then when we finished, I did crop science. Then Makerere took me out on, they called us special assistants on staff development. And I also had a very difficult time there because there was times when the scholarships were not available and people had their own sentiments. I tried to go out. One time my scholarship forms, a lady, Muganda's secretary for crop science, very nice. She would type, you'll never find a single mistake. One day she called me and said, Latigo, you come and get your forms. Your forms were never transmitted. And then I said, fine. I applied to University of Nairobi. When I was accepted, I went. Dr. Gleim was in charge of that scholarship, German scholarship. But the scholarships that were there were for Makerere. But in 79, I should have gone to Germany. And the war blocked my... So I told Dr. Gleim that I was supposed to have gone to Germany. And you know, those were Zungus with records. So he said, oh, you come back tomorrow. They sent and checked, they found that I was telling the truth. So they gave me a scholarship. That's how I ended up doing my master's in zoology in the University of Nairobi. And then from there, one day we were for Independence Day celebration and I met Dr. Lukabe. He was head of training. And Professor John Okedi was head of APIS, a program which is African Postgraduate Program in Insect Science. And trained very many, including Professor Ben Mogi, John Bahana, Sam Chamanywa, Charles Mugoya, many of us. So the guy said, what are you doing? I said, I've just finished my master's. And I'm planning on going back to Uganda. He said, no, you come to my office tomorrow. So he comes and says, okay, take this form, let them fill. We'll give you a scholarship. And I came, I had problems here. But Professor Kidi was coming to Uganda. So I called and I told them, those guys will not sign my paper. I said, it's okay, I'm coming. So we go and meet Professor Joseph Muchibi. He was going for council meeting. And Professor Kedi said, you sign here, we will fill the recommendation. But he had helped to take a personal person of Professor Muchibi, so he could not do anything about it. And I went and did my PhD. And I love being in Uganda, so I could have worked there or gone outside. I came back.
Where did you do your PhD?
At the International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology, ISIPE, in Nairobi. Mm-hmm. But that was an Africa-wide program, but you get registered in your local university. Mm-hmm. I was registered in Makerere.
Okay.
It was 89 actually. My President Museveni was the one who conferred my PhD on me mm-hmm. as chancellor then. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you finish your PhD, and then where does your journey take you?
It was a struggle again to join. And yet I had that background of being on staff development. I applied to be recruited as a lecturer, but there were two other guys that they wanted in the same department, in the same field, who had not finished their studies, mm-hmm. but they wanted these guys to do it. And it was a big struggle. In the end, they brought in some guy from Kitgo who had a master's. By the time I had applied, I had already published 4 papers. I had a PhD. They wanted instead to recruit this guy. So the appointment board for Makerere, and I wrote to them. So they looked and said, why? This guy has the qualification that none of these people have. So they wrote, and my appointment letter of Makerere, and I kept it until some time. It says, the appointment board at its discretion has decided to appoint you lecturer. Mm. In 1990, I went to Iowa State University for my postdoctoral. And I came back. But when I graduated in 89, I organized a ceremony in Kabanyo. We were staying in Kabanyo. And I invited those professors of ours. None of them came. Mm-hmm. And but the guys from Agago were many, the dancers were there. So in my speech, I said, like that story in the Bible where the chief organized the ceremony and the people who were invited didn't come. And he said, go and call. So I said, you call all those guys who are looking through the window to come and join you. But I made a pledge. Mm-hmm. I said, I suffered as a student, and God allowed me to reach where I reached. Mm-hmm. And I told, in that I said, no student will suffer in my hands. Mm. And that commitment allowed me to do incredible things. My first My first two students, I recruited them. And I said, I have a small saving. We will use that money to do your field experiments. Caroline Nankinga is a very senior insect pathologist, maybe now retiring in Rwanda. Professor Onyu unfortunately died during COVID. And then Bachalire from Busoga. Those were my first three students. And by that time, students will not, either you'll just stay 4-5 years until you give up. So I said, no. Those ones finished, the three students finished in 2 years. And we published papers with them. And then I started getting, it was crazy. At any one time, I would have like 12 master's students. There were no mobile phones, so if we agree that we'll meet tomorrow, it is up to you to remind me. And it allowed me to move very quickly because after 3 years, actually 2 years, I applied for promotion. Three of my students had got their masters. I was supervising 4 others. I had published 5 additional papers. But they were still dilly-dallying. They got some very old rule that says that somebody must have served as lecturer for 3 years before being promoted. And they slapped it on me. And I said, fine. 3 years ended like today. The next day in the morning, I had my letter for the head of department.
Yes.
And I said, 3 years elapsed yesterday. I'm now applying for promotion. Yes. Oh, they were very upset with me. But those things don't bother me. And I got promoted. In fact, John Kabogos, I was head of forestry. When now the thing would go from department to faculty. When they saw my CV at the faculty, many of those professors had not even published the number of papers I published. And a couple goes, one going back, he said, "You, Latigo, we always see you, when you come back, you're playing Scrabble with the Uchen, and the weekends you guys are playing cards. When did you have time to do all this?" I said, I work at night.
So listeners who are listening here, actually, today, our appointment was delayed precisely because the professor said, I work at night.
Yes.
So you've kept it up to now.
I still work at night.
Wow.
It is cool. There's no disruption. And my mind is focused. So, Makerere, I moved from lecturer to associate professor in 6 years. That was fast. Yeah, that was extremely fast. By that time, I had published more than 30 papers.
Wow.
And I applied for promotion to professorship. Then I entered politics. In 96, I stood, but I had been in the Makerere campaign. Paul Makerere and my father-in-law, Gino Bonyo, were DPs. So one time, I was called by Father John Scalabrini. He said, Paul Makerere wants to speak to you. And I found with a number of people, and he said, my son, I'm going to contest, and I want you to help me. That's how I joined politics.
What made you say yes?
I couldn't say no to somebody who's called you my son.
Yes.
And I also knew that linkage between him and my late father-in-law. So I said, fine. Coming for Makerere's nomination from Kabusu, I was already senior lecturer. But if anybody has the old pictures, I was running besides this car. Oh yes, and then that is where we came very close with Imad Cecilia, who were in that campaign together.
Yes.
And well, it cost me the election that year. I lost to now Chief Justice Owindoro. But they also use their means because I was very strong. Yeah. And that was an experience, and it was an incredible exposure because I went to every part of Uganda. We were with the Yona Kanu Moses.
Oh, this was possible in the presidential campaign.
Yes. We went everywhere. We confronted. I'm writing something small about that campaign. It was some of those incredible experiences in Rukungiri. We were literally blocked
from addressing people.
Even they didn't want Makerere to go there, but I used to drive a project vehicle, UA 1313. So it was a government vehicle, but in the same Makerere campaign, so they didn't know, they could not come for me directly. And I had to confront people. It was just one of those experiences. And so when in 2001, I succeeded. In fact, that campaign, nobody from Makerere wanted me to leave. They were very hurt that I lost, but they were very happy that I came back. So when 2001, everybody said, this time we are giving you the good way. My own students collected 6 million.
Wow.
And that was a lot of money.
Yes, and 2001.
Yes.
Was a lot of money.
6 million.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And when I won, they organized a big reception in the Faculty of Agriculture. I had to go and celebrate with them. They said, this time, it's okay, you have done your part, you can go.